Hi everyone, it's Diane. Welcome back. Welcome to new subscribers. Nice to have you. Yeah, I hope you find some fun and inspiration on my channel while we're making some cards. Thank you to everybody who has given me a thumbs up and made some comments after my little pity party yesterday. But anyways, you made me figure I may as well just come back and do the other cards, so I guess it was worth it if you're enjoying the videos anyway. Because yesterday we had used, what was that? Awesomely Artistic. Oh, I already put stuff on top of the card. And we did this card with some ink blending and blending brushes. And because I'm trying to keep the videos pretty short, I decided to do the second card from Wildly Happy in a second video. So that way it's keeping them like about a half an hour, and if you're not interested in one but maybe in the other, then you might just enjoy this better. You stay down. I let you in here because you were being good. Ella's back. You would think I'd learned my lesson, right? So we'll see. She was laying here being really good until I started, and now she wants to jump up again. And for those of you who haven't heard before, Ella is my son's little kitty cat that kind of adopted me when she was staying here when his furnace went out. And she hasn't really gone home since. And I keep, Ella, get the squirt bottle. Seems to be the only thing that's working. Ooh, but she likes water, so it's only going to work for a while. So here's what we're doing with Wildly Happy. Not you, only me. And originally, I stamped my little elephants in basic gray. And we're using alcohol markers or Stampin Blends today. You can use Copics or whatever alcohol. You can use just regular markers, color markers. Use what you have. That's the name of the game here. Anyway, I originally stamped in basic gray, and I know a lot of people think that you can't use your pigment ink if you're using alcohol markers. You can if you're not saturating your paper a whole lot. It's not going to make your ink bleed a whole lot. The only thing, when I did it, I seem to have lost a lot of my detail of the elephant. I mean, it's okay, but it really did stand out better if I stamped it in the black. And you know, I'm not always one for a bold black outline. A lot of times I like mine a little softer. So anyways, we are going to use the Memento. Memento Tuxedo Black Ink. And I have all my measurements written down here. I'm starting off with a basic gray card panel. I know gray sounds kind of weird, but remember we're going to stamp some elephants. So, and in keeping with the theme of things, using what you have. Boy, see, she doesn't really care that I'm squirting her with water anymore. Now next week when I'm saying, where's my water mister and why is it empty? Y'all have to remind me. You sprayed the cat. Actually, she's not even wet. It's not getting her. It's getting all my other stuff. Oh, hello, you're making me lose my train of thought. In keeping with the theme of things, I'm using some designer series paper. I just went through my stash and found something that had gray in it. So I pulled out the Peony Garden designer series paper. And believe it or not, it had this really pretty gray pattern paper in there. And so that's what I thought I would use on my card. So if you have a gray that you would like to use and it has some blues with it, and actually, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, I probably do with the Father's Day stuff. There's gray and blue in that. You can make this more boy-oriented, but this one just happened to use Petal Pink. Gray Granite, Basic Gray, Petal Pink. And so that's what I went with, right? I don't mind. I like pink. I'm good with that. So, kitty cat hairs everywhere. Started with a basic gray card panel. And then I cut a Petal Pink panel at 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. We're going to layer that on next. And then I used some of that pretty gray pattern paper, and I cut that to 4 by 5 1/4, and that's going to fit just inside my pink panel. And then we used the Stitch So Sweetly dies. Had them out here. I did. I don't know where they're at. Weird. And I used the large scalloped rectangle and just cut out a piece of basic white. Actually, this is the thick basic white because I'm using alcohol ink, and alcohol ink does go through. Even on the thick white, you can see that it went through the paper a little bit. So if you're going to color with your alcohol ink on the inside of your card, you may want to do a panel and then adhere it to the inside of your card so that you can't see this on the back. Okay, everybody's quiet right now. All the puppies are napping, and the only thing, hubby might give me a call here. He might be traveling today, and he was going to call and let me know. Oh, here's my dies. So if that happens, I will pause my video briefly, find out where he's off to, and pick up where we left off. Hopefully, if I can remember. So, after I cut my white with this little scalloped die, I measured this to see how big it was, and it's about 3 by 4, because I'm going to want to layer this on a piece of that petal pink. So I cut the petal pink to 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. I'll list the measurements in my comments or description below. Okay, so that's going to go like that. And then we need another, you'll need a coordinating design pattern paper. And I'm going to layer that on top of the gray before we put our little elephant images on there. That's cut 5 1/4 long, and my strip is 2 3/8 inch wide, only because that's what happened to be in my paper pack. And when I layered this up, I was like, oh, that's probably a good width. If you don't like that, cut it down to like a 2-inch strip, or 2 1/4, or whatever you like. I just didn't want to cut that paper off and throw it away. When I wanted to look for embellishments, I did find that I had some petal pink ribbon, and it has a little bit of a gold metallic border on it. So I made a little bow out of that, and then looking through my embellishments, I found a pack of honeybee rhinestones that had kind of a grayish color to it. When it's on the card, it doesn't really look gray. They just look kind of clear, but next to the clear, they look gray. I don't know, I think they're gray. Okay, so anyways, that's everything that I'm using for this card. I'm going to start by taking my little scalloped die cut piece. I should put this back in the die package before I lose it. As I said, this was the Stitched So Sweetly dies. I have my little elephants here on my acrylic block. I'll ink it with the Memento Tuxedo black ink. I don't know if I had used the elephants before or not. I did use out of the stamp set. And for anyone who's new, what I've been trying to do is use all of the stamp sets on my bookshelf. And it's going to take a while because I have about 300 sets over, and that's excluding holiday specific stamps. My Christmas stamps are in a box, and Halloween's in a box. And so Valentine's in a box. Actually, you know what? I don't think I ever used the bunnies on here. I should have done that for Easter. Silly girl. That's okay. Might have some Easter stuff coming up here. I don't know what's up next. I'll have to take a peek. I did just re-ink my Memento pad because when I went to do my inside message, hope I don't get my head in the way, sorry. Although my hair is clean. Gray, but clean. Aw, aren't they cute? a little chamois and clean my stamp off. So I hope you're all doing well. I did really, truly appreciate hearing from you guys who commented. Thanks. It meant a lot. It's like, oh, there are people out there who care. Yeah, so thank you, thank you. I'm going to take this off my mat. I did try out, Stampin' Up! Alcohol markers have light and dark. I know that like Copic has a whole array of colors and a lot of other manufacturers have light, medium, and dark. So what I tend to do, I use my light and dark, and I keep my color lifter or colorless blender, whichever you want to refer to it as. I keep that handy, and that's how I kind of make my lighter shade. So I did a little swatch of the light and dark gray granite. I felt that was too dark. So I went with Smoky Slate. So we have stamped in basic black, and now I'm going to use my light Smoky Slate and color in. And I know usually I do all of my coloring ahead of time so you don't have to be tortured. But maybe you're not used to using alcohol markers and you would like to see it. So if you don't, fast forward. Don't be bored. I'm going to do the inside of my ear gray because I don't really know. Are elephant ears really pink inside? I don't know. Never saw a real elephant. Oh, I guess I did in a zoo. What am I talking about? I obviously didn't pay attention to the inside color of his ear. So how I like to use alcohol markers, and everybody has their own technique, I use mine in a light, dark, light fashion. So I use my lightest color. You don't have to be too worried about if it's making lines or anything because we're going to blend it. That's why they're blends. Just get that color down there. Oop, went past his paw a little bit there. Well, I guess he's not a paw on an elephant, huh? Probably a hoof. I know I'm going to do baby, but I'm going to do baby next. Then I take my dark, and where the artist already has the detail lines, that's where I add my dark. I also try to make sure that like under the elephant's belly, it would be darker under there. So I'm just going to add a little bit of the dark ink. Make sure I add where they have his knees. Under his ear, there would be a little bit of dark, and under his head and his trunk. His belly would be darker. Right? And the hoof in the back is going to be darker. Everything in the back is going to be darker. Under this ear and around that leg. Inside his ear, this would be a little bit darker under the flap of his ear. And a little bit behind his head. But that part is sticking up higher above his head, so I think it would be a little lighter. I'm not trying to make it really exact. I mean, I am not an exact person. Then we take the light again, go back over those lines and blend them in. And that's why I said you really didn't have to worry about it leaving marks, because as we blend this, blend those dark lines in, it's going to take care of any of those little marks that you weren't maybe fond of. And then, yeah, because I think there would be some lighter spots, and this is where my color lifter comes in, like that little hump on his back. I think the light hitting it would make it a little darker. The tippy top of his ear, the tippy top of this ear, maybe be a little lighter. And I do like to use the brush end of this, but this one is sort of worn out a bit. And for some reason, the bullet tip works pretty good, but the brush end is not working so great. So I think also that in between each of the little humps on his trunk, I'm thinking that would have a little bit of a light area where it's up higher. Maybe his rump over here would have a little bit of lightness, and where this leg is sticking out would be a little bit light. So in essence, I'm making my own light, medium, and dark. You don't have to get that detailed at all. All it's doing is adding a little highlight. And if you don't have a color lifter or a blender, and you have a white jelly roll pen, you can always add some white highlights with your pen. Okay, back to the baby. Now I'm going to use light and color him in. Only problem about breaking these videos up into 2 days, I don't have anything to talk about on the second day. I'm thinking because I didn't really do a whole lot yesterday. I did work on I had said I wanted to go work on my Alice in Wonderland journal and try to get that cover. And I got it, I would say 90% of the way done. And I was doing my top stitching, and for some reason my sewing machine decided that the bobbin thread was going to get all wonky on there. I'm going to use my dark and do the same thing. I'm just going to make some shadowing like under his trunk, around where the artist has some little detail marks, under his ear, inside the ear, his belly. Yeah, so this morning I sat and unstitched what I stitched yesterday. And if I have some time here and the puppies are still being good, I'm going to rethread the bobbin and then blend that out with your light. Anyways, blend that, or rethread the bobbin, fill it up, and see if maybe it's getting low and it just wanted some loving. I really don't need my sewing machine to start giving me a hard time. Okay, and then again, if you want some little highlight areas, maybe the top of him where the light might be shining, around his belly, the top of his head. And that's just how I get my light, medium, and dark. Then, because we don't want them to look like they're floating in the air, and they kind of are right now, I just pulled out, I didn't want anything dark grassy because, first of all, if elephants in their natural habitat, they would be in a drier area, right? So they're not going to have a whole lot of grass. But if they're in a zoo, they might have some. And I wanted to add a little bit of color, so I just took dark soft Seafoam, which is a greenish, but it's a light green, and went over the little lines that are in there from the stamp. And add a little bit of the light on the edge. Now in this instance, I didn't do light, dark, light, but this is making just some shadow effects around our little elephants. And I'm going to use that white pen because right where I got that gray outside of his foot, it looked kind of bad there. Okay, and that's it. Pretty easy peasy to color in some little elephants. They're just small images, so it's not going to really take a lot of time. Then The greeting that I chose was Sweetest Baby. There are a couple other ones on here. We have Wildly Happy. For You, Little One, So Tiny, So Small, So Loved by All, which is a favorite saying, and I have that on the inside of that one. And Sweetest Baby. So I'm going to use Sweetest Baby again. I just used the Memento since that's what I had stamped the elephants with. Trying to be careful since I did re-ink this. I don't want any blobby ink marks all over, like the one that's on my finger. And I'll try not to get my head in here. Sorry, I gotta pull it so I can kind of see what I'm doing. All right. And that is it, my friends. We are putting this baby together. See, even this one, Sweetest Baby, could just add a happy birthday greeting on the inside and make this a little birthday card. And like I said, the bunnies on there would be a great Easter card. I find making white bunnies kind of hard though, because to make white, obviously you have to give them some color in the background or it's not even going to look white. And that's hard for me to do. Mine don't always look pretty. Practice though, I should practice. Okay, my bits back here. I can glue this onto my petal pink background. That black doesn't smear. So I'm gluing this one flat onto the pink. Ooh, I did get black on that side. I was afraid of when I re-ink, I end up getting ink on my fingers. And let's put this gray designer series paper onto our pink panel. It's just going to give me a nice little tiny border around that. I have that 2 3/8 inch strip of the pink designer paper, and I'm going to try to center that. Okay, and we can layer this flat onto our basic gray card base. Okay, I'm going to add some foam dimensionals. Hey, get out of my plant. That's growing too pretty. Don't you mess that up. Oh, my succulents over there. Yeah, I know, but you know what? The weather's just not quite nice enough to take them out yet. She finally in her little box. She has a box up here. As she steals things like from my sewing area, she usually goes over into her box and plays, which is nice because then if it's something that I don't want her to have, I can usually find it. But today, well, not just today, I guess. She does like to jump up on the table and make her presence known to everybody. I guess she just wants to tell y'all hello. I added this a little bit to the left of the card, just so I could add some embellishments over here. And I used that petal pink ribbon and made a teeny tiny bow that I'm going to add with some glue dots. If I can get that twisted down there right. Glue dots do help make your bow stay where you want it to go rather than where it wants to go. Yeah. And add that to the little top corner here on our panel. Cutesy cutesy. I keep sliding to the right for some reason today. Don't know why. And where are those grayish colored ones right here? Sweetest baby. And then I just added some down this left-hand side. Oh, do you hear her? You know what? When I was reviewing my video, I don't even think you guys can hear her half the time. Sometimes she gets loud, but... And there we are. Sweetest baby. Just take a piece of basic white. Oh, this thing's in my way. Oh, good. We have time. Quickly, I will do my inside. So tiny, so small, so loved by all. It's just the cutest little thing. Ooh, I think I made a blob. Hubby hasn't called yet, and maybe he's not going to go because I think they were going to be leaving about now. He's just a general plant manager for the one company, but they have plants in oh geez, Baltimore, Toledo, Weirton, and then back here. So whenever there's any equipment being moved or recalibrated or installed or anything, for a minute I thought I put that on upside down. He has to go, and the one plant has been getting new equipment installed, but it's not been ready. There you are. So anyways, today he thought it was going to be ready for them, and they were supposed to go, and then got a message yesterday that it wasn't ready, so he didn't know if they were leaving or not. So here is our Wildly Happy from the end of the alphabet, and then next ones will be, what is this? Balloon Bash. Oh, I must have got that one secondhand because I don't know. And, ooh, this is a background Wildflower Meadow. This looks like it's going to lend itself to some die cuts. Maybe I'll pull out all my little bit. Look at this one's so old. This is a wooden block. This one is wood. No year. Find out when this is from. Oh, I did get that one secondhand because there's my little. I got that off of my upline demonstrator when she has her used stamp sales. No year. Sorry. I will try to figure that out. But won't that would be pretty, and then we could use some die cuts and layer up where these flowers are in the background. Cool beans. We'll give it a go. So that'll be our next cards coming up, and I thank you guys for being with me today while we did Wildly Happy. I hope you like it. And if you have the stamp set, give it a try. Till next time, Take care, everybody. Bye.